Hey y'all, it's Spring with Soaps and Suds and such, and what are we doing today? Well, we're going to make a southern style walnut pie. And what you're going to need is 1 cup of sugar, granulated sugar, 1 cup of dark corn syrup. Corn syrup looks like that, and you can get the store brand or you could get the Cairo, whichever. And you need 1 cup of that. You need 3 eggs, lightly beaten. We have our 3 eggs ready to lightly beat. 2 tablespoons of all-purpose flour, right here. And you're going to need 2 tablespoons of melted butter. And we've got that right here. And then you're going to need 1 teaspoon of vanilla, 1 9-inch unbaked pie shell, and 1½ cups of walnuts. And you can get whatever brand you want to, or you can do your own. These are not the black walnuts. You can use the black walnuts if you want to. And you can leave those whole, or you could chop those up. Let me show you. You could use one of these to chop them. I like this thing, it works really good, but for mine, I like to go with very fine, because if people have teeth problems, that really just takes care of that. And so I just grind mine up in my little grinder. But if you don't like them in a more of a powdery form, you can just leave them whole or chop them, however fine you want it with something like this. And that'll work just fine. Eggs to beating. I'm just cutting that, not on the real high setting, on 2. Let that beat them up. And you don't have to use a KitchenAid if you don't have one. You could use a whisk like this. You could use a spoon. You could use a fork actually for just whisking up your eggs. You could use whatever, you don't have to have a KitchenAid to make this pie. It's just easier for me, so I use it. Okay, we've got our eggs beaten, slightly beaten. They're not too beaten. And now we're going to add to that, we're going to add our sugar. You see our sugar. This is our 1 cup of sugar. We've done got our 3 eggs lightly beaten in there. We're going to add our 1 cup of sugar. We're just going to give it a turn a little bit. Don't have to if you don't want to, but I like to in between. I like for everything to get incorporated really good, and that can help do that. Okay, next to this, we are going to add our corn syrup, and that is 1 cup of dark corn syrup. But I think this type of walnut works really well for this pie. I prefer to use the black walnuts in my cakes. Like my Watergate cake. That was my grandmother's recipe that she always made. Oh my goodness, it is wonderful. I may have to make one of those and do a video and let everybody else make theirs, because it is really good. I'm trying to get all that in there that I can. The pie will need it. Need to invest in another glass measuring cup. I broke my last one that I had for cooking. Now I do have one for soap making, but I don't use my soap making equipment for cooking. Only soap making. Okay, we got that. Now, let's see. Get off what I can on there. Okay. Now, let's give it another spin here. Okay, now we are ready to add our flour. Adding a little bit at a time. Okay, now we'll add the rest of it. And now you want to add your butter in there. We've got our eggs really good. Our butter's cooled down, and that is well, we added 2 tablespoons of all-purpose flour. Can't forget that. And next you want to add 2 tablespoons of your butter, melted butter. I'm just going to pour it in there like so. Making sure I went over all the ingredients with you. This is a wonderful recipe. It tastes really good. And I crank it up for that part. Okay, next we're going to put in our vanilla flavoring. And you want to add 1 teaspoon of vanilla. Right now I'm just trying to pour it. It's hard to see. I'm sorry about the lighting. I should have brought my lights in here, but I'm kind of in a hurry. Okay, there we go. 1 teaspoon. Okay, and now we want to take a spatula or something to go around our sides just to make sure that we got all the flour and sugar and everything incorporated really good. And I want to go down in the bottom a little bit because that place right in the center, sometimes the mixer or whisk will not touch it. So you want to be sure and do that. And actually, I need to get me a little bowl to put this on. And I'm going to let that, make sure it's mixed up. I think we got that pretty good. Now I'll bring you right back. Now we're going to add in our chopped nuts. Remember, you can use whole if you want to. We're adding 1.5 cups of, the way I measure this, I'm going to go ahead and tell you, I don't measure this much. I measure 1.5 cups of the whole nuts, and then I grind them. So I don't grind first. Okay, let's put this in there. Try to get that out of the bottom. Don't like to waste nuts. Okay, and we're just going to hand stir that right in there. I could have just went ahead and whisked it, but I'd rather hand stir it. And I did leave some of the nuts a little bit thicker, a little bit bigger. I didn't grind every one of them into a pulp. Okay, and I forgot to mention, you want to cut your oven on to begin with. When you first start making it, on 400 degrees. And that way it'll be preheated. I have mine cut on, I forgot to mention it. I would do that before you ever start mixing everything. And you're going to take 1 egg white, just one, and you're going to whisk it. Get it whisked. Then you're going to take a brush. If you don't have a brush, I'm sure you can figure out something, because I've not always had a brush. I just can't remember how I done it. Put it on there. But I'm fortunate enough now I have a brush, and I rarely use it, but I like having it. And this is an unbaked 9-inch pie shell, pie crust. No, it's not homemade. I didn't go that far into it. I could have made homemade, but nope. Not have time today to do that. Maybe on another video. But I'm just brushing my pie crust down with egg white. And I forgot to get me any tin foil or aluminum foil, and I needed it. So, oh well. Okay, I got that brushed. Set this out of the way. Okay, now, what I like to do is I like to take tin foil. I like to go around the rim of my pie, because I don't want that part of my pie to get so brown. Because where this pie has to cook from 35 to 45 minutes until it sets, it's going to be somewhere in between there. Now, it takes quite a while, but I forgot to get tin foil, and this was all I had left, so part of my pie will be a little bit browner than the other part. Oh well, it'll still be good. Still be tasty. This is a really tasty pie. So, I hope to be doing lots more pies. I need to do some blueberry pies. I've got loads of blueberries in the freezer. Or maybe some blueberry cobbler. That would be good. Or even a blueberry yum yum. I have to do some pumpkin pies. I've got pumpkin in the freezer. Okay, well, you get the gist of this. We did not quite have enough. But they do sell some little things that goes right around your pie crust. Now, if you've got that, wonderful. I don't have it, so I use aluminum foil. Or tin foil, whichever way you want to call it. Okay, we've got our mix here. Let me get where I can actually do this. I'm going to pour that mix right in there. And looky there. It's more than it said. We're going to have enough for 2. Oh my heavens. Okay, let me get the other pie crust ready. I didn't know it would make 2. It didn't the last times. Okay, I'm Lulu. I forgot. I normally do this one in deep dish. So if you do deep dish pie crust, you get 1 pie. If you do regular, which these are regular, you get 2 pies. But I failed to write that down on my recipe. So there is why this ended up this way. Okay, now I like to take some pieces. These are whole pieces, and I like to just put some here and there on the pie. Like so. Two pies probably be better than one. There we go. I think that one needs one more in the middle, even though I've done that differently on that one. I'm going to put one more in the middle. I think it'll look good. Just a little one. There we go. Okay. We've decorated them a little bit. We've got them in their pie crust. So now what we're going to do, I've got my oven preheated to 400 degrees, and I've got my oven rack down on the 3rd spot. The 3rd from the bottom spot. That's where I've got my oven rack. And that's where I'm going to put the pies at. And I'm going to set my pies for 35 minutes because it takes anywhere from 35 to 45. And that's according, you know, everybody's ovens are not the same. So I'm going to set it for 35. Well, actually, no, I'm going to set it for 40 minutes. That's in between. And then I'll check them. And once I get them done, I'll show you what they look like. Okay, our timer is set for 40 minutes. Now it's time for me to clean up my mess. And I'll bring you back once I get them ready. Okay guys, they are done, and it took exactly 35 minutes. So here you go. And I think honestly they could have went a little bit less, maybe 32 minutes. But they are nice and firm to the touch. So I think definitely could have went for like 32 minutes instead of 35. You see where I had the tinfoil looks really good. Where I did not is too brown. This one's way too brown, but they'll still taste good. And they are definitely set. I think the next time, I think I'm going to write on my recipe when I do the 2 regular 9-inch pie crust. I'm just going to do it for like 30 to 32 minutes. But here we go. There it is. And now you let these cool completely before you cut into them. And I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, click that subscribe button. Hit the little bell. That'll notify you every time that I upload a video. And thanks for watching. Have a great day.